Isn't this amazing?
Yeah.
A boot camp for us. Because why? We are boots on the ground, right? This is what we do. Why not learn from the people who do it every day? But here's the question. So you've heard about calendaring, you've heard about amazing tidbits on how to, in case you did an amazing job. Doro did. Come on, you guys, give it to me. They are amazing. Thank you so much. But here's the question. So I won't go into my background. You guys know me. I've been doing this forever. Okay, got it. No matter what we're doing, right? No matter how great our calendaring is, no matter how amazing we are in following up, sometimes no matter what, you have to what? Deal with difficult people, right? So how do we do that? What do we do when we are dealing with attorneys, co-workers, people in our profession that are really hard to deal with? How do we, what are some of those tricks and tips that we can get? I have worked as a secretarial trainer, among the many things that I've done in the legal profession for 35 years. And whenever I would get a new secretary, sometimes it was either a secretary who was new to the industry, who's never done this kind of work. One of the things that I would always focus on initially is always explaining the DNA of a law firm. We get that, right? Everybody from the attorney to the person who changes a toilet paper roll, everyone in the firm is there for one reason. What's that reason? The client. We are there to serve the client. No matter who we are, no matter what we do, no matter what our role is, everything is about the client. And if we get that, if we understand that, we can understand the dynamic and the flow of law firms. But what happens then if most of the time, what we notice is that most of the time that we spend in a law firm, we spend more time with our coworkers and our attorneys and our wait hours than we do with our families at home. Isn't that right? If you count the number of hours in a day, you spend more time with your coworkers than you do your family. And there's bound to be issues when there's a situation like that. So then what do we do? What is one of the secrets that we can come up with that can help us deal with difficult people? One of my favorite phrases from Bruce Lee, be water, my friend. What did Bruce Lee mean by that? What did he mean when he said be water? What do you think?
Go with the flow.
I love that. Who else?
Be fluid.
Be fluid. I love that. Anyone else? One of the attributes of water is its adaptability, right? What does that mean specifically? Water has the ability to take the shape of whatever vessel is poured into, right? Bruce Lee said in his quote, if you pour water into the cup, water becomes the cup. If you pour it into a teapot, it becomes a teapot. What does this mean for us? When we are working with our attorneys, our difficult people, then we have to be adaptable. The difficulty sometimes is that attorneys, especially what we call our old heads, right? Doro mentioned our baby lawyers. Baby lawyers are a little bit more flexible, but sometimes we get attorneys who've been doing this a long time. And how are they when they want things done? Rigid. They are not moving, right? They want it done the way they want it. It's always been done this way. I don't want you to do anything different. So then what do? We have to be adaptable. We have to be water. We have to be fluid. Because without it, we're meeting up against resistance, and it's difficult to deal with people who are not moving. What's another attribute of water? How about this? Versatility. Water can take the shape of liquid, right? What about this one? Solid. What about this one? What's that one? Vapor? Gas? So water has the ability to change form when it's needed. Are you adaptable in that way? What happens, there may be some times where you need to be a little bit more rigid, right? There's sometimes you need to be, as Lynn said, you need to be more fluid. Being water focuses on versatility and adaptability. When you're dealing with difficult people, it's easier for the change to be with you than for you needing the change to be with the next person. That makes sense? But what about situations where you've done all you can? You have, I mean, it's just too much. Sometimes, I know you guys are waiting for this. One of the things I want to share with you that SLSA does before I talk more about specific things that we can do when we're dealing with difficult people at work, I want to give you an example of how I've described it to kids. SLSA is partnered up with the Sacramento County Bar Association. The Bar Association has a program called Kids Law Day. You guys ever heard of that? Kids Law Day? So what that program is the Bar Association pairs an attorney up with either a paralegal or legal secretary, and we go into the classroom and we talk to the kids about what we do, what our profession is. You probably grew up learning that was what, career day? Where people come in and talk about their profession, and the firemen come in and the policemen. So what we do is we come in and we're talking to kids about what we do, our profession. And so the way that the program flows is the attorney will usually be the first to talk, and he or she is talking about their career and how they got into the law and what they did and how they became lawyers and what inspired them to be lawyers. And then they give the kids a chance to ask questions. They're usually questions like, have you ever met OJ, or were you at the OJ trial? Have you ever put anybody in jail? Or how much money do you make? Those kinds of things, right? And so, that's right. What kind of car do you drive, right? And so when it's time for the secretary's portion of the program, what I like to do, because it's boring, like what we do to talk to 4th and 5th graders is like non-students, right? So I like to put the direction on the kids. And so I'll say to the kids, okay, you know how we got where we're going. And you probably don't want to hear about what I do, but I think you know what you want to do when you grow up. And so I'll go around the classroom and I'll have the kids raise their hand and say, what do you want to do? Have you got what you want to do when you grow up? And you'll get all kinds of names, and I'll usually have a whiteboard clear, and I'll start jotting names down. We're talking, I want to be a baseball player, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a YouTube content creator. I mean, these are thinking kids, okay? And so what I'll say to them is, now we've got a list of all these different things you guys want to do. What are some things that you absolutely have to have no matter what your career choice is, right? And you're learning it here. Give me some ideas. And they'll say, oh, math or English or writing, spelling. That's right. Then I'll say, okay, there are certain things you're learning here in school. But what about things that you don't necessarily learn here in school? Like, how many of you guys, and I'll ask the kids, how many of you guys have siblings that live with you? Brothers or sisters, older or younger, maybe cousins that you play with. Most kids raise their hand. So think about a time when your brother or sister came in your room and bothered your stuff. Or your little brother is bothering you while you're on the phone. Or you go in your room and your things are missing, and your thing is broken. Or they're just constantly irritating you and getting on your nerves. What do you do? Then they'll raise their hand. They'll say, well, I tell mom, or I tell them to leave me alone, or I scream and I yell. And that's when I will say to them, because at this point, I would have passed around these in the classroom, which you guys have on your table. You're wondering why you have oranges on your table. This is why. For this, right here. I would have the kids take their cuties. So you guys can take your cutie, please. Feel free. Get a cutie. Get your cutie. Come on, cuties, get a cutie. And so then what I would do is I would tell the kids, I want you to hold up your cutie, and then I want you to think about this question. What's inside an orange? What's inside an orange? That's a hard question. What's inside an orange? Anybody?
Juice.
So I would say to them, if I took a knife and I cut this orange, will I get plum juice?
No.
What if I were to squeeze this orange as hard as I could and there's juice running down my arm? Will I get apple juice? What if I took this orange and I smashed it up against the wall, or I stomped it as hard as I could with my foot? Would I get pineapple juice? And of course the answer is what? No. Why? Why is it that no matter what I did to this orange, I'm only gonna get orange juice? Why is that?
Because it is an orange.
It's an orange. But why is it that the only thing that I will get out of this thing is orange juice? Because that's what's inside. The only thing I can get out of this is what's in there. It doesn't matter how I treat the orange, I'm still gonna get what?
Orange juice.
So then I ask them, which is what I ask you, what's inside of you? When someone cuts you with their words or their deeds or whatever, when someone squeezes you and irritates you, when someone gets on your nerves and does something that they shouldn't be doing to you, when someone goes as far as smashing you with their words and sometimes with their deeds, what comes out of you? The key to it is the only thing that can come out is what you have put inside. So what kind of qualities are you putting inside of you? This is all about dealing with difficult people. One of my favorite aphorisms is, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I'll let you repeat that. Because this saying is almost the key to everything that shows up for us, right? A lot of times things show up the way they do because of how we're looking at it. But if we were to change how we looked at something, you would be surprised how quickly that thing that we're dealing with can change. Why? Because we changed ourselves. Another thing to think about when dealing with difficult people is to look at every situation. Remember, we're changing how we're looking at things. So instead of looking at something as an opposition to it or being opposed to it, opportunity over opposition. Look at every situation as an opportunity to do something. To do what? How can I bring love to the situation? How can I bring kindness in this moment? Maybe I need to find a way to show more empathy when I'm dealing with a difficult person. Every opportunity that we have, every day that we go to work, we have an opportunity to bring love and kindness and empathy and compassion to the people that we work with and work for. Every day is that chance. The last thing is never take anything personally. You guys heard of the 4 agreements? Anybody read that book? One of those agreements is never take anything personally. If we find a way to keep our attention on love and kindness and compassion and generosity and mercy and grace, we won't find a way to take that personally when we are dealing with difficult people. Here's the bottom line. Dealing with difficult people, it's an inside job. Thank you guys so much.